What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party. It's your boy, J-Sib.
The Bull.
Cav.
So what do we got this week? Got episode 1 of Bad Batch and then Comic-Con news today.
Yep, working our way into Bad Batch. Obviously, we're a couple months off from the release of the second season, but we couldn't wait to get into it. So we started with the Bad Batch episode 1. It was the 70-minute special. Came out Star Wars Day, May 4th this past year.
Last year?
Was it last year?
So they're not all going to be that long?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I think the first one was like a extra extended, the 70-minute, and then the rest of them are like 30 to 40. I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of what threw me off. I was expecting like a half-hour show, and then I was like, oh, these are like hour-long episodes.
Yeah, just the first one was, but the remaining are shorter.
So I'll take more 70-minute episodes. If you got any of those, boys.
You got any more of that?
Any more of those 70-minute episodes? No, it's what we say, 16 episodes in the next one. So obviously, the series was a hit. I think everybody can agree on that. But let's get into the notes here and see what we said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, it opens up towards the end of the Clone Wars, right before Order 66 has been given. Basically opens up in a big battlefield, droids and clones with what was the Jedi's name? I feel like they said it in that like comedic voice. I was like, pajama what?
It's like lava or something wild like that. So what is Caleb's master's name?
The name Caleb still throws me off.
Yeah, they're getting real
That's
generic with these names.
That's his name before he becomes who he really is.
Depa Balaba.
Yeah, pajama.
Pajama Tomato.
Let's see. Caleb then shows up to the battlefield, tells of these this group of different clones that are coming to help and accompany them.
They're 5 clones for their
They're the reinforcements for the fight. He's just, you gotta see these clones, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, they come in and they wreck shit. I'll say, please let me know if I'm like missing any key details or anything, because notes are sporadic. Because Max would just brush up the tank off the cliff. My boy Wrecker.
And Wrecker just takes care of business.
Right.
And then let's see, would have been after the battle was over that Order 66 came in, right?
Yeah, so they basically agreed to split up and go find the rest of the separatist droids on the planet they're on, and in the midst of all that is when they get the order.
And then the clone does the token communicator and walks away off screen.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it was like every other one of them did.
Yeah, and he turns to the Jedi and she's like kind of feels that she knows what's coming, and they start to shoot her. Caleb turns around and kind of notices all of it.
Run, Caleb!
You must run. As she gets lit up.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, the Bad Batch don't seem affected for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part.
Obviously, the good soldiers follow orders.
Yes, Crosshair. So that's said by the clones where it malfunctions in Clone Wars. That's like what they start saying is good soldiers follow orders. So it was like a homage to that old Clone Wars episode when Fives says it.
Yeah,
because he's the one that goes ballistic and he kills a Jedi like in the middle of a battle during Clone Wars because his chip malfunctions.
Yeah,
so there's these like really good Jedi Knights and they're twins. He kills one because his chip malfunctions and it like triggers. So he says the whole good soldiers follow orders thing before he like basically blasts her in the face. So yeah. So like Crosshair saying it was a nice little homage to that, and so he's like, his chip's kind of working.
Yeah, and you can see like they keep talking about when good soldiers follow orders. Since when? You know,
Right.
The Bad Batch has never done
Yeah.
that. And now it's
That's their whole MO is they do things their way. They don't follow orders.
Didn't get that impression at all.
No,
Right.
no way. No way.
Yeah.
And then see Solid Snake and Crosshair Boy, Sniper Boy.
Crosshair.
Yeah, so Hunter and
Crosshair.
Crosshair go running after Caleb. Hunter wants to, calmly talk to him, get him back to the group because he's just as confused as everybody else. But Sniper Boy is Mr. Follow orders. Just tries to kill Caleb straight up. Eventually, Caleb goes full Jedi. Well, not full Jedi, but goes Jedi on Crosshair, knocks him out temporarily. Hunter chases after him to where there's a big cliff. Still tries to reason with them. Jedi does Jedi things, and Superman's that hoe over that cliff.
Giant force jump. It's really impressive for a Padawan.
Yeah.
Then, so I used to call him Solid Snake now. It's hard for me to register Hunter. Hunter stares off. Crosshair ends up coming up behind him, asks him about it, can basically tell that Hunter's lying and that he let him go.
He says that he blasted him and he fell down down into the ravine and died, and he was looking.
Stunned him before he jumped. Or
Yeah, stunned him before he jumped. Stunned in mid jump.
Yeah.
And he fell and he died.
He didn't make it.
So then they just go back to their ship.
And, obviously, Crosshair won't let it go.
Right, because he's insane.
Yeah. And he looks over and what he says? He says, usually when people fall down, you look down, not across. You don't look across. And he's like, most of us don't like to watch.
He says that most of us don't like to watch, and it's hilarious because he folds his arm all pouty. And like I said, it's almost like he needed a line of like, since when the hell do you never like to watch? Who you've killed. You just
So they go back to, I just put home base.
Camino.
Oh yeah, that already would be Camino.
So all the clones get called back to Camino because the Emperor gave the order, but then they wanted them all back so they can, I don't know, count numbers on what they got. Because basically at this point, he's trying to understand what's his military force look like since he just formed this empire, and he's trying to be a
Test them
complete
out.
totalitarian or whatever,
Yeah, and trying to, and basically kind of get them all together so he can inform them of what's going on, too. That's why they
Right.
had to come for that General Assembly.
That's true. Yeah, and they're essentially like they dubbed in the speech from episode 3, so the timing is they're watching when like in Revenge of the Sith when he's in the Senate giving the speech.
Safe and
Like, it's the
secure
same.
society.
Yeah, it's the whole same thing. So
Palpy hype as fuck.
Yeah, I think there was. I think around that time, or maybe slightly before, I think it was Tech basically brings to light that their DNA is built different, and that's why.
yeah, like when they're back in Camino, they feel like all the as they call them the regs, like all your other clones.
Mhm.
They notice right away how like they're acting like different, and honestly it's like it's a flick of the switch, like they're just total assholes now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's an attitude switch for them.
Yeah, completely
So-
changed everything about
So
it.
like they just get back to their quarters, and Tech brings up about how like, well, we're different, like mutations of clones, and is that when they talk about the chip? Because he says
they might.
he
I
brings
think so.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
they
he
reference
brings up and he says like the regs are programmed,
Mhm.
and he
Yeah, because then in the
So-
next scene when Palp talks and they start
They
cheering,
start
he
cheering.
refers to it again.
And
And
he
says,
sa-
"You still think they're not programmed?"
yeah,
Yeah,
he
they're all
basically
cheering and
is
shit.
shoving it in the other's face. He's like, "Do you still think they're not programmed?"
Everyone's just
Because they're like,
Fist.
fucking
They
raging out there.
it's
dude.
almost like they basically still have their free will to think. So they're just like, "Yeah, doesn't this seem a little messed up?" Like, they're putting it together of
Mhm.
wait, we just fought with these Jedi for 3 years, and then now all of a sudden we're just randomly ordered to kill them.
And they're like bringing their bodies out and like stretchers covered up.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like proof of death for all the Jedi. That's just systematic eradication.
Dead Jedi.
Just a bunch of dead Jedi.
Dead Jedi.
So they're walking through the halls after the speech, and this creepy little child who knows the badge comes up to him. Her name's Omega.
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 She's Australian, mate.
Why? Who knows?
So yeah, she seems to know who the Batch are. They don't seem to know who she is.
It's because
Well, I know,
Tamia Morrison's Australian, so we had to make the girl Australian.
I know, but
She's a clone, huh?
accents aren't genetic. That's what I mean. I'm like,
Are you trying to tell me that real life is separate from the fantasy world of Star Wars?
hey, you know what? If they find a way to genetically infuse dialect, I'm with it.
Oh man, I'd go out in English or something. I don't know,
yeah.
something.
Something.
Trick women into liking me.
See?
Yeah,
That's all it takes.
yeah.
Also, Omega works there
Might need to
too,
cut that
right?
part.
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
Omega works at Camino too, right? Like
She
works
works.
with the
Yeah,
scientists.
she works with like one of their top genetic engineers. Basically, is her assistant. The gal that she works with, I don't know. I think she's just like one of these special Kaminoan scientists.
Yeah. Facilitators of the
Yeah.
cloning process.
So she's grown up on. It's like with what we saw with Obi-Wan. It's like with Luke and Leia. Like she's just this child that's never got to leave this one place.
Mm.
So she's grown up.
Let's do it again.
Well, yeah. Well, they basically
Because
confirmed
she,
it again and everything.
Because she is clearly like. I think she's supposed to be like Boba Fett, where she doesn't age rapidly. Like she's normal.
Mm,
Like
okay.
the other clones age
Right.
rapidly.
Okay,
So,
so that would make sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that would make sense as well. Why she would kind of be a part of the badge essentially, because when her DNA be altered then compared to a reg.
Yeah, she is. She's
Yeah,
one of the
I
five.
mean,
Remember,
yeah,
'cause
they-
remember
yeah.
Echo's a reg, as they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The next note I have, I feel it was really important to jot down because I don't want you guys to forget it. Wrecker really likes to blow things up.
Dude, it's so funny. Dude, it's like the perfect.
Here's a fact: I like to blow things up
because
I like to blow things up.
They were perfect.
He's honestly like
Best characters.
the best character in the show, and probably I don't know. It's between him and Hunter, his favorite clone ever.
Hunter's pretty cool too.
Yeah,
I mean, solid snake. So.
I'm an old
Right,
school guy.
exactly.
I'm a Commander Cody type of guy. You know, and
Oh,
Rex.
God. Rex is cool.
Uh-huh.
Cody can. That son of a bitch.
Oh, isn't Cody from Clone Wars?
General Cody is Kenobi's unit. He's
Isn't it yellow? Doesn't he have
they're
yellow?
they're yellow. Yeah, that's Kenobi's unit.
I changed my mind on him when I blast him.
Yeah.
he hands him his lightsaber and then he runs off, and as soon as Order
And he gets
66
the order
happens,
and just blast him.
he just shoots him off the wall.
Yeah, Cody's a bastard.
Yeah.
Rex is cool though.
Yeah, Rex has always been.
Rex got saved.
Yeah. Shit removed.
Yeah, so they're back in the cafeteria. Creepy kid is back.
Omega.
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 She has lunch with them.
Yeah, she has lunch. Then some regs walked by where they like talking shit.
The Sad Batch.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I call them the sad batch.
The
Call them the
Batch.
sad batch and said looks like they got a new member, making fun of Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, yeah, I would like to know what that food item is. It almost looks like a chicken pot pie, like in a roll.
In a roll. Yeah.
I was gonna say a chicken burrito.
Yeah, that's
Like,
really
yeah.
what it looks like. But there's like noodles in it and stuff. Just Omega smacks this reg in the back of the head with said burrito.
apologize to my friends. Friends.
See, then a little more shit talking, and they go to turn around and leave, and all of a sudden, bang! A whole tray smacks him in the back.
Oops.
Fight ensues.
By yours truly.
Oops.
Rex.
Oops.
The whole tray.
Yeah, it's like
I think I got two more
he's got
in
like
there.
2 or 3 more. Just getting rid of just oops.
Not again.
Not again.
Yeah.
Echo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Echo. Not again.
Just a degenerate bunch of the whole fucking army. Can make a goddamn action comedy with these characters.
It's a fact.
See, then they I think they go to head back to their quarters, but then they're told that they are summoned. Oh, yeah, they were told they were summoned. They think they're being summoned because they're going to get in trouble.
Reprimanded, yeah.
But they find out they're actually being called to go to the testing grounds.
Right.
Tarkin wants to test out the clones.
Because
and
Tarkin
the
wants
Bad
to
Batch.
test out that Bad Batch.
Yeah, because that was also right when Echo had been knocked out because he saw Tarkin. He was looking at Tarkin through the window.
Right.
And then he got knocked out and they were scanning him. And that medical droid 4184 blah 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 blah
Couldn't
blah.
get it down.
Yeah, that's right.
And
God, hilarious.
He says, "You're all genetically defective clones."
Genetically defective.
Yeah, Wrecker goes.
Yeah.
Like, looks around. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
See, so they get to the testing ground. They basically shit on the first set of droids that had their phasers set to test or shock or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they shit on them real quick. Salty Tarkin gets pissed, turns phasers to death.
Death. Live rounds, live ammunition.
Got a pretty cool fight scene of the team working together and how they all various abilities and how they kind of coincide with each other, especially with them in the second battle. They didn't really have any weapons for the most part. They had to hack one of the droids. Your boy Echo
Tech.
Tech. Oh yeah, Echo's the one with the
He's the one that's got the metal arm.
Yeah.
Tech rides him around, gunning people or droids down. So anything you want to add to this fight scene?
It's just Tarkin just trying to test them to see if like he can use them for what the Empire's looking for. Because the whole thing was that we kind of jumped over was he had a conversation with the head Kaminoan, the Chancellor for the planet. And he's basically told him like, you had your contract with the Republic and it's the Empire now, and we don't want to spend the money on your clones. He's like, we basically want cheap labor from
Conscription soldiers.
From conscription soldiers. And you know, the Kaminoan tries to say like, if you take John Doe off the street, he's not going to be as good as our clones. And they're like, yeah, Tarkin kind of basically says like, we literally don't care. And he's like,
we're not spending the money.
Yeah, he's like, we're not spending the money. And
I'll be the judge of that.
yeah, but then they basically finagle this deal where if Tarkin likes what he sees from maybe some batch of clones, they'll consider to continue to use them. So he picks the Bad Batch to do this mission, probably on purpose, because again, they say, like Echo says, like Tarkin just does not like the clones. So,
and you can honestly see how he's setting it up, setting them up for failure because they don't follow
like
orders.
he probably knew, like he saw this ragtag bunch, and he probably knew, like, well, I can use them as like the means to where the Empire will get out of this bullshit, this contract, I shouldn't say bullshit, this contract with the Kaminoans.
Which works splendidly in the future.
Yeah. So essentially, like, they do this whole testing thing, and then what? Tarkin likes what he sees, and he tells them that they're gonna go to a...
He gives them basically gives them a quest, and
Onderon.
And then I think they run into a Mega before they leave. She basically tells them to not come back, and
correct
how she
She knows kind of something.
Basically, she alluded that they were going on a suicide mission, so then I, of course, put suicide mission. What is this? Some sort of Suicide Squad?
In a way, in a way, as close as Star Wars can get to DC universe.
I'm a piece of shit.
When he typed it, I was sitting there looking at it. I was like, Grooch.
Let's see, so they get to, did you say it was Alderaan? Onderon. And they find out that what they were sent to, they're sent there to kill droids, right?
They're told they're insurgents.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what Crosshair said. He's like, they didn't say droids, they said insurgents.
Right. Because they think they're going to kill droids.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Crosshair corrects it and says, like, he didn't say droids, he said insurgents. So they figure out, like, through their Predator vision goggles.
Yeah.
Just sweet.
Thermal heat sensor, heat ray, vision, whatever. You know, that it's people. And since, you know, again, they're not mindless clone drones that just follow orders, well, at least 4 of them, they're just like, well, we're not going to just kill people. And
Crosshair's sitting there with the gun on him, with his crosshair
on the old lady.
on her
Yeah.
head.
Just
Right
that
on
was
her
the
forehead.
greatest thing. Zooms in.
I mean,
It says, make the call.
Make-
talk about, like, you know,
Old lady, bro.
fluffing up your kill numbers.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you're just
I mean,
taking the
come on.
easy stuff.
Picking off the weakened one of the
God.
herd. My God.
Freaking Christ,
It
man.
just zooms right in on her forehead, dude. That's
This dude's padding his stats.
no shit. No
That's
shit.
why the Empire likes him.
I bet he talks a lot of shit too. Anytime, like, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Piece of shit. Let's see, so they end up getting surrounded by a group of insurgents.
Republic fighters.
And take them back to the camp. They surrender, and seemingly seems like a badass character the way they introduced him. Is it Saul?
Saw Gerrera.
Saul Gerrera. Okay. He's here. And it's where they kind of, they dive into more, and they kind of figure out that the batch was sent to,
Kill
in the
them.
end, kill Republic civilians or.
Yes. He basically says to them how, you know, they're not okay with the fact that all the clones killed the Jedi, and he doesn't trust the Empire, and he knows that something's up, and he basically says that, yeah, the Clone War is over, but now this new Civil War is about to start. He's basically, like, he's getting ready because he knows that there's going to be a rebellion against this Empire.
And the thing is Saul wasn't like the bright side rebellion. Saul was like extremist insurgent, like assassinating figures, and like he did a lot of sketchy things.
No prisoner type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is like, as you'll watch Star Wars Rebels, and then even in Rogue One, they're like, he's an extremist. Like, that's the thing. Like, you figure that out in Rebels. Like, that happens in Rebels. Like, he becomes an extremist because he's like, he basically gets so old from fighting for his whole life that he's kind of like, he's an extremist because, like,
He looks pretty rough in Rogue One.
Yeah.
right.
He's
He's
seen
been
some
fighting the Empire for, like I said, like 18 years, and he, you know, they didn't get any. They haven't ever gotten anywhere.
No.
And I know he shows up. I know he's in Fallen Order too, because I've
Yeah.
at least played that game up to that point, to where you run into him. But I don't know how. I need to finish that to know, like, how in depth he really gets in that.
Doesn't really. It's kind of a snippet. You know, he just kind of comes in and you help him.
So it's kind of like more of a cameo even in that game.
Yeah, because I think his on Kashyyyk, you see him.
That it's on Kashyyyk, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because
Freaking Kashyyyk.
Tarful's who we see at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Tarful. Yeah, and he's the chieftain that you help in.
Oh yeah.
Because they live to be 200 years old.
So essentially, he tells the clones that, and then he gives them the option of like, you can fight us, and I mean, there was enough of them that it was like they'd probably die, or he's like, you can basically get out of here.
Yeah, because the clones helped us, liberate Onderon
Yeah.
at one point, and turns the gun to him.
Yeah, he gives them a choice.
Yeah, you couldn't either let what you were die, or continue on and make a change.
Yeah.
Let's see. So they split off, and then dissension appears to be happening among the ranks as Crosshair's being still kind of a dick, wanting to follow orders. Meanwhile, in the middle of the conversation, Hunter shoots and kills a probe droid behind Crosshair. Basically tells them that Tarkin was spying on them, and they hinted at the fact that the Republic didn't do that, at least that they knew of.
Yeah, Crosshair.
He says the Jedi never did that, and Crosshair says that you know of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's found out that Omega is also a clone.
Yeah, Tech basically nonchalantly tells them how, like, yeah, she's a clone just like us. She's a mutation.
Yeah, and he says, "I thought it was obvious."
Yeah, he says,
"How is that obvious?"
Yeah, how is that obvious?
Yeah, because that's like I said before, Echo is a reg.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Techno Union is who chopped him up and made him different. But technically, the 5 clones that were genetically modified, she is one of them.
And so they discussed that they want to go back to get Omega, even though Omega told them not to come back. Crosshair doesn't want to go back because the mission's not done still, correct? Because they'll just basically be failures.
Yep.
But they end up going back anyway. And then during the process of that, Omega and robot B4572,000 they're in this room searching for something, and she pulls out a picture.
In their room.
Barracks. Yeah, they're
in their room. And she pulls out a photo of all of them.
Let's see. And then floating droid trips over something and causes a noise, so...
Well, that's when he drops the droid head.
Yeah.
It has the droid head. It freaks out.
Then clones come in, they take Omega away, fucking blast the robot with a little taser.
Don't touch me, droid.
Let's see, and then shortly after the batch get there, they're pretty much immediately reprehended and taken to the cell with Omega in it. Crosshair is still being a dick, just kind of dissension.
Yeah, it just continues to go darker and darker.
But Omega kind of puts her hand on his shoulder and basically just says, "I know you can't help it," and tries to seems like makes him feel a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can see like how it like is physically affecting him. He keeps like leaning forward, touching his head, and he doesn't understand what's going on. She apparently knows all about it. Mm-hmm. She probably was directly involved with that for the most part.
Right.
And, it seems that Tarkin has taken a liking to Crosshair because he saw through the probe droids that he was the only one that was actually loyal to the Empire throughout the whole mission, or tried to be anyway. So they take him out of the cell and take him into a little medical facility and run scans on him. And Kaminoan
Kaminoan
tells Tarkin that his chip is still active, it was just turned down, or
it didn't have as much of an effect. It was working, but not to the extent because of all the extra genetic modifications.
Mm-hmm.
The brain chemistry was working against the chip, so it was working, but it wasn't working to the extent that the regs had been affected.
Yeah.
So then Tarkin has her increase that bad boy. So he shocked the shit out of his fucking temples.
Straight shock therapy.
Then Tech comes up with an idea. Since this planet and this facility wasn't built originally to have prisons and all that jazz, he basically is smart and aware enough to know that it probably isn't as structurally sound as a place that was specifically designed for something like that. So finds a weak spot in the wall, tells Wrecker to do Wrecker things.
To do record things. Yeah, that's so funny. Just that quick hits and
Pretty.
And they did their helmets. They just turn, stare at him, and then back to talking. I'm like, that's so funny.
So after 2 punches, they get a panel loose. Omega climbs through it, climbs up through the ceiling above, and there's an event above the clones right outside.
And she starts moving around a little too much.
Okay, that's what gets their attention.
And they're over there, and they're trying to make Wrecker move away from the wall. He says, "What's on that wall?" Nothing. He just puts his hands behind his head.
Nothing.
So, get away from that wall. Why don't you come in here and make me?
See, and then in the
Love Wrecker. He's just a child.
I know.
just a big man child.
He's a big child.
His little bunny.
Let's see, and then so yeah, during that time of them trying to get Wrecker to move and all that jazz, Omega crashes through the top and lands on him. Scurries and undoes the latch, and one of the clones grabs her, and all of a sudden your boy Wrecker comes in and just wallops.
Waylays him. Just knocks him out.
So the batch is free. They run to a hangar to get all their equipment and stuff back, and also to escape.
Well,
on the ship.
that's conveniently placed by the ship.
Yeah,
that they
it was
use.
kind of weird.
Well, they're moving all their stuff out, so I
Yeah.
think they were trying to get rid of anything Bad Batch because they were going to probably
Kill them. Yeah,
ixnay them all, the ones that weren't.
that makes sense.
Because Tarkin even said, he goes, "I'm sure you know the penalty for treason."
Mhm.
Treason? So they were just using that as
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to get rid of them, and make it look like it was by the book.
True.
And then as they're about to leave,
Treason.
the door opens. Oh no, it's your boy Crosshair. He's turned full heel.
Not my boy.
Not my
Not
Crosshair.
my crosshair, yep.
Then we get another pretty cool showdown. Actually had just a full stare down for a couple minutes between Hunter and Crosshair.
Old West style.
Yeah, Old West.
They did a really good job of building suspense in that moment, too.
Yep.
Like, it was just so, yeah. hear the spurs.
That would have been
Have a roly
amazing.
droid
Yeah.
be a tumbleweed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why do they have spurs in
droid head.
space? They don't ride horses.
Well, it's fucking, what's his name?
Cat Bane.
Cad Bane. Cad Bane is just straight up out of a fucking western. Just there's nothing else to him but that.
Let's see. So during the showdown, Crosshair shoots Wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
Tech is in the ship trying to power it up. So I'm probably missing so many details of this fight. I'm not doing this fight any justice at all.
Well, they throw smoke grenades at them, so then it's like to try to get them to move out from their hiding, just because they might think like, oh, well, if we can use this smoke to our advantage, because Crosshair probably thinks they might be that dumb, because he's got the scope on to see the heat or heat signatures. So.
And that's when you really see him change, because now he's just going for the kill.
Yeah.
Shots going for the head.
He gives his own orders now.
He shoots Wrecker. He shoots Wrecker in like his clavicle to leave him as bait. So drop the other ones out, and they don't take it because Hunter's like, no, we know how he works, and
using him as bait.
And then real quick, as Tech's trying to fire the ship up, he tells him to close the hangar door, and the clone like presses the button, but it doesn't work because the Kaminoan's head scientist is like overriding it to allow it to stay open, because she wants.
Because she's a true G.
Well, she wants them to get away.
Mm-hmm.
They're
So-
valuable. They're very valuable to them.
Yeah.
And and that's also part when in the beginning of the fight when Hunter says to Crosshair, is that an order?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about give yourself up, and so I think he's acknowledging that under the Empire, Crosshair is what they want,
Yes.
and he's dropped below him.
Yeah.
Now he's not part of the Empire anymore, or he's considered one of the regs. And
Mhm.
Crosshair is really what they want, that kind of evil.
Then Omega ends up saving the day.
Snatching a blaster.
Because who
Still-
was it? Echo that grabbed Wrecker. Yeah, because Tech would have been in the ship. So Echo went for Wrecker. Hunter told Omega to run directly to the
In
ship.
Don't stop.
But she saw a blaster, and she picks it up and like sharp shoots Crosshair's gun out of his hands.
While he's scoping in on Echo's head.
Yes.
God.
And
they're all kind of surprised by the shot because it was so pinpoint accurate.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at her, what the fuck? And then she goes back to casually firing lazily just to
Crosshair
keep up appearances.
Yeah, Crosshair throws
Yeah.
the sniper and then pulls out a pistol, and then she starts shooting at him,
Yeah.
and he runs away. And then the batch gets away safely. They get on the ship. This next scene almost seems like they're out of harm's way by this point because they're in like basically the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
Omega says that she's never been anywhere outside of Kamino in her life.
Never fired a blaster.
She
never fired a blaster.
Yeah, she is, quote, never fired a blaster, even though the very first time that she does it is
Perfect.
perfect.
Beginner's luck.
That's what she said, but
Beginner's luck, genetic mutations, yeah.
yeah, she was,
Crazy.
Potato, potato,
wild.
whatever.
It's wild.
it's wild.
Wild and crazy stuff.
So, Hunter basically tells her to strap in and enjoy the view as they hit that warp speed because we're about to go see an old friend on
J19.
J19.
And roll credits.
Roll credits and wonder who we're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys know, but am I supposed to know? Or will I know this
you
person?
will. You should.
You'll know the person when you see the person.
Well, we're gonna do our ratings for these.
I don't see why not.
We might as well keep it consistent.
We can.
Alright.
Well,
Who wants to go first?
I can go. Honestly, keeping in line with the other standards we've set so far with Obi-Wan,
So far, if we're basing off Kenobi, I feel like you guys should be giving this show like 10s across the board the whole way through.
Oh.
It's all about your preference, Jordan. No, I think I would probably put this at an honest 8. Honestly, with me and the animated, the only reason I think that I give it an 8 and nothing more is because I miss Clone Wars so much.
Yeah.
And it was such a good series, and it was epic, and every episode was just. I mean, there were some that were slower, but they were necessary.
I can agree with you just because I don't like how in Clone Wars Tarkin looked way younger, and then in this episode, this timeline is generally, it's only like a year or two since we saw him in Clone Wars, and it looks like he's aged 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hate that because it's like the continuity of the character is kind of broken because, like, he legitimately, like, the episode that his character is in, like, he has to get rescued in Clone Wars. And when Anakin and Ahsoka and all them, they do that, like, his character is way younger. Like, way younger. Like,
He looks more
Weird.
like he did on the Death Star in this one.
yeah, in this, it's like the same Tarkin from Rebels and Rogue One and Episode 4, which is like, to me, just shitty because it's like, yeah, but he's like, again, it's the whole 15 to 18 years younger thing. It's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't like that as much. That's why I can't like. That's what'll ultimately probably keep my ratings for the series probably kind of low.
Just Tarkin himself.
That's a continuity.
It's just a continuity issue. It's stupid, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's why just this episode I'm like with you on. That's my reasoning to kind of give it just an 8 out of 10. It's a good intro episode.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of wish there was a little more there in the beginning with Caleb and his master, but it was just kind of
a little Easter egg.
it was
carrot.
that was more of an Easter egg appearance, just because again, this is where it's at in the timeline. Yeah, it's way before Rebels, but this obviously came out way after Rebels had ended. So yeah,
Some things are spot on with continuity. Some things are a little dicey.
And it's like you said, it's an animated show, and the reason that I like to look at it so seriously that like the humor is great, and it is good humor, but at the same time, it reminds me that this is a children's show. So I don't know.
That's why you gotta. I have to look at the animated series in a different light.
Yeah.
More so than the live action, because live action is typically much more serious with a little bit of humor, as opposed to a fat stack of humor shoved in your face. Because like you say, the kids. But it's not the kids.
What did you think about it, Jay?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think they did a really good job of setting up this team, this Bad Batch of these hooligans, heathens.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised, even like I felt like they did such a good job, like kind of building them together and how much of like a brotherhood they had, that I thought like the heel turn with Crosshair was gonna be like maybe too early, and you just wouldn't kind of get the oomph of it. But I still felt like they did a good enough job that it didn't feel that way. Like I could still I hated Crosshair the whole time, but I was still like, when he popped through that door in the end, I was like, there it is. There's the turn.
That's true. That's true.
It made me a little sad, actually. I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like the brotherhood is broken. Like,
and he's a cool character.
He is a cool character.
Yeah,
like he's
like the sharpshooting shit. That's dope.
Yeah, like I hate on him, but he's fun to hate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I'm with you guys. I'm just thinking 8 sounds good. Thought it was a pretty great first episode. I think they did a good job of, I don't know, like especially for someone like me who has seen sporadic episodes of Clone Wars and stuff like that. I didn't feel like lost really at any time. Like when it started, I knew exactly where we were and the story of the Clone Wars and everything. So I think they did just, really enjoyed it. Then like the action that we did get, I think the fight scenes are cool, even though I did a terrible job describing them. But I think they were kind of clever in some ways on how they did certain things. The humor, Wrecker.
Call that Rex.
Favorite character by far.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, like you say, between him and Hunter, Hunter's just a badass, and obviously the moral compass of the group.
Right.
Whereas the rest of them kind of follow orders.
Well, text like the overly logic thinking super genius Echo is like he's like their sense of, he helps with their sense of morality, I would say. And yeah, Hunter's like also that morality and moral compass, and because I mean, I don't know, with Echo it's just difficult because it's more like they just took him in because like he was, so like you said, he got modified by the Techno Union, and now he's so different that he just kind of fits in with them. But like literally the only things that Echo really does is like, so like he's got that metal arm thing.
Mhm.
So it's just like R2, the
You could just hack into
R2,
stuff.
he can hack in door, he can pick locks on the doors. He just hacks right into like their computers that are throughout the galaxy with that arm. And then that's like the whole thing with the band on his brain is because he's technically like computer modified in his brain to, I think, speak to the shit too. Or something like that. It's like weird.
He's basically a computer.
Like he's basically a computer, yeah.
He's more machine than man.
Like I think like that's why his skin is so pale because he's not like
Doesn't have a blood.
alive in a sense because he doesn't have blood really. Yeah, like he's essentially a cyborg at this point.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars cyborg. I like
And
that.
again, Wrecker's the big dumb oaf
Man-child.
man child. That's
Like to blow things up.
hilarious. I haven't blown anything up.
Says,
all
dude,
day.
that was so funny. He comes up, he's like, oh, is your programming kicking in again? That sounds
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Tech.
Is your programming kicking in again? So watch it.
Don't start with me.
Don't start with me. God, I love his character.
Oh yeah. Just get ready for the Dave Bautista live action.
I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna
I
happen.
know. Trust me, I don't want it to happen.
I think Dave Bautista's probably about to be retired, honestly.
Yeah.
Because should we have that name lead into the next things we're going to talk about?
I think
With
that's
The SDCC and Hall H.
Did you go? Were you there?
No.
Or did you know show
In-
like Cavill?
In spirit. Yeah, I know showed like Henry Cavill. Because I, like Henry Cavill, know that my time with Warner Brothers is over.
You know, I don't ask for much. I don't. DC,
Well,
I don't ask for much.
Apparently you are.
I just
Bro, I'm just saying, he had a...
I just want Henry. Just give me my Superman back.
The cameo at the end of
Not my
Peacemaker
Superman.
was a stand-in, bro. It wasn't Cavill. Same with Gal Gadot from the Wonder Woman stand-in, man.
You take that back.
Just saying. It's pretty evident they'd rather have, like, a super hot... I don't know what the hell Jason Momoa's nationality is. And a white psychopath that gets drunk and angry yells at everyone in public. That's what they want in their franchise.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's-
in all seriousness...
Let's talk about some good stuff.
How hot Dungeons and Dragons looks.
I got right here, bud.
Does it look hot?
It
I'm not
looks
gonna
good.
lie. I also love Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm all about that shit. Chris Pine's in it.
I'm just afraid that it's gonna fail just like the one from the mid-2000s did.
Oh, but this one's got a way bigger budget. It won't look
Which
like-
automatically means it's gonna be just a certified
banger.
fresh banger.
Banger.
but it ain't gonna look like trash at least.
Got a bigger budget. Avatar had an enormous budget. I'm sorry. Not that good of a movie.
I like it a
I'll
lot.
agree with you.
I like it a lot.
Avatar?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I like it a lot. I've seen it a
I
bajillion
can't.
times.
I
too.
couldn't.
I'm a big fan.
Like,
I like
I'm
the
sorry,
whole
when I was
universe.
watching that movie and after the first hour, I'm like, this is fucking Pocahontas.
Pocahontas and Dances with Wolves. That's really what that movie is.
The giant tree, I just got pissed immediately. I was like, are you fucking
I got
serious?
pissed.
Like, I was like, it just,
I really enjoy him. I don't know. Maybe it's just my preference.
well, you go watch the Winds of Water or whatever the hell the new one's called. I don't know.
Absolutely. I
know.
plan
Yeah,
on it.
Okay. Alright, guys, I did not watch this trailer, so what's the premise of it? It's
It seems a little
so
more.
it's a it's a group of thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Don't know if I really want to put that in.
typical Dungeons and Dragons. Did they have a quest?
They don't go too deep into it.
So I don't think they really got too much into the story itself.
Yeah, it's more of just kind of like a hype trailer more than anything.
Oh, at least
Wait, I think I did. Yes, I did watch this trailer because I noticed that apparently the dragon just pukes.
Yeah.
So
And it catches
in
on fire.
Dungeons and Dragons, there's like different types of dragons, and depending on like what color and stuff they are. So yeah, he's either like, it almost looked like it was lava almost. But he was either
Right.
he's either gonna be like poison or acid or
Yeah, because
yeah.
Because then it catches on fire, doesn't it? No. Oh, you probably just spit on something then. Okay.
But
So I did watch this trailer. I lied. I forgot I did. And then he's talking about how, so they stole this artifact, and it goes in the hands of this evil sorcerer
yeah,
who clearly has a cult.
yeah, it's like the most evil entity on the planet or whatever. That
Okay. So basically, now they gotta do stuff. Is that Michelle? Is that Michelle Rodriguez?
I think
is.
so.
Okay. She's still doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her.
Bang!
So there is a world after Fast and Furious.
Yes, there is.
Dude, I popped so hard for this.
Yeah, I know.
A
it's fun.
fucking owlbear, dude. I was like, give it to me.
It's fucking.
See, I never got into Dungeons and Dragons,
Fucking
so
throws
I
it
don't.
away. Oh, it's
Oh,
fucking.
So
Dope.
she's a druid.
she's a druid.
Yeah. This is fucking sweet.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. This movie looks hot.
It really does.
it looks like. Okay. That's
I can't remember- I
awesome.
can't remember what those are called.
Yeah.
The treasure chest trap.
I can't remember if they're called mimics.
Yeah, mimic. Well, that's what they call them in Final Fantasy, is a mimic.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
So this looks good, like they're actually trying to establish like a high fantasy world.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
Like a legit one with all these different creatures and monsters and like again, I never got into Dungeons and Dragons. I sat down and tried to learn it once, but that was with a whole bunch of people and all of us did not know what we were doing, so we kind of gave up after 30 minutes of like reading. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's like user manuals.
Dude,
I mean, it's
it's a lot.
complicated. Personally, I mean, it seems like Jordan, I know you do you still play?
No, after our DM had his kid, we've been taking a break for a while, but we're supposed to start up again sometime. I would imagine somewhat soon, because he acted like once he started getting more on like a regular sleep schedule, he was.
I just can't imagine like actually sitting down and like trying to like.
What
learn
helps
and do
is
all
like you
that.
just have to have a dungeon master that has done it and knows what he's doing, because he or she will be able to help you out the whole time with any questions that you would
But
have.
I'm just saying, like, even becoming someone like a good DM to do that, like, that's gonna take so much of your time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the way Chad ended up becoming like a DM was, I mean, our other buddy Mike was usually the DM, and eventually, like, after Chad playing for so long, he ended up trying to be a DM, and then still had Mike with him in that same session. So if he ever had any snags, he still had a DM to help him. But Chad, yeah, I really like Chad as a DM too. He does way better than what I could fucking do. But yeah, I can't wait.
Okay.
It does. It looks like fucking super good. I don't even know more or less if I just want it to be good so bad, but it looks great. It looks great.
You probably want it to be good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do we just talk about the other big two, or can you not stomach talking about DC at all? Because it's going fucking nowhere.
No, we're not talking about that right now.
We don't, or you want to get it out of the way?
Well, I mean,
I don't
you know,
know.
Jim
It's
Lee
like-
had to ruin everybody's mood on fucking Friday anyway by telling everybody that there's no plans to continue the Snyderverse. You know, so I was already kind of depressed going into Saturday.
I just don't
I was
know.
like, hopefully he's just saying that just to get our, you know,
I mean, I kind of hope
expectations
so,
low, and then
'cause-
Cavill walks on stage, and then we freak and then Cavill didn't show up. So then I was like, just life sucks.
Well, I just don't get like the direction of any of it. So they showed a couple things. So they gave us another Black Adam trailer, and then they gave us a trailer for Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yep.
And in the Shazam trailer for Fury of the Gods, he's like in a therapy session talking about how like he's not as like he's basically acknowledging like I'm just a ripoff of Superman. And he's like saying how he's not as cool as like Wonder Woman or whatever. Like he's nothing special. He's just some kid that got lucky. So to me, it's like, well, if you're showing shots in this trailer from the old Snyderverse movies, then I don't necessarily think that
You can completely dismiss
they
it.
just tossed that universe out.
There's no way.
I just don't know what the hell they're doing because, like Jordan's saying about Cavill, like not even being involved at all in anything, and like they seem to just not care to bring him back, and when he has the time on his social media, he seems to try to get the hype train going. He'll do something goofy with like a Superman action figure, like show like I think he has like the suit for the movie, like they gave it to him and let him keep it, and he has it like hung up in his closet, and he'll like I don't know, like I just don't know what the hell they're doing because
Sorry, could you say that again?
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Perfect.
Because like there's gonna be the Aquaman movie and now the Shazam movie. To me,
Which the Aquaman movie, let's be real here, all the shit that's followed behind that. I mean, with the whole Johnny Depp and what's her nuts.
oh well, apparently they're removing all of her footage.
Well, at least there's that.
So like her character is gonna be like pseudo chopped, or like
I've heard she has like
or
less
like
than 10 minutes of screen time. If
Yeah.
if not even.
and
more.
apparently they're just talking about removing it all completely, like editing the movie in a way to where she's completely out of it.
Only way they'll save that movie.
Yeah,
I don't know
kinda-
how-
They'll save that movie.
I see all the hate on Twitter of people who just are refusing to go see that movie if she's still in it at
Yeah.
all. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Only way there. I mean, obviously, I'm
we got fucking Ezra, we got fucking Herd Turd over here. Like, god damn it! Can we just?
like, what's that in the water?
I think
It's not a
maybe
fish.
honestly, I think we need the reset button here. Like I said,
This is the sad thing. Is like we couldn't even make it to fucking Flash. That's when you could have reset everything. It's literally the Flashpoint movie. You could have just redone every. But no,
Yeah.
Ezra Miller couldn't keep his goddamn hands to himself.
Yeah.
We're dead. We've been dead. We've been on life
Yeah,
support for a
so
while. But
been
I
on
think
life
it's,
support, like
I think it's official.
They're just putting their nail in their own coffin, man.
they
It's just,
are.
it's,
Hashtag release the Gator cut.
Why at this point? No. Just give Zack Snyder his fucking job back.
Yeah. And that starts by restoring the Snyderverse. Hashtag release the Gator cut.
Give a shit.
it's
I'm
like
just
they
saying, like,
it's spitting their fans.
it just
faces
doesn't make it doesn't
sometimes.
it just to me it makes no sense on where it's all supposed to go. Like
Well, they just continue to spit in their fans' faces. I mean, they see what the people want, and they just actively do the opposite.
Yes.
I personally think that Flash movie is going to like
At this point, I don't think. Well, they spent.
it's gonna like
$250 million
reset. I think they're just gonna play it off like he's resetting. He's fucking with the timeline, and then what'll happen is that it'll get like set into the. It might be where it gets set into the world of like you have Shazam and like Wonder Woman and Aquaman still, but like maybe the Batman is now gonna be just old Michael Keaton, and it's an old Batman because they are gonna do the Batgirl movie. So like,
I hate that so much.
and then instead of Cavill as Superman, they're gonna have that girl who's playing the. She's playing Supergirl, but it's not the Kara Zor-El Supergirl. It's the newer Supergirl. That's the daughter of Clark and Lois, and I can't remember her name, but. That's the Supergirl that it is in this Flash movie, and I could see where like they'll just fuse this universe all together, just so they still have like that type of character going forward for their universe.
I think I need a moment too.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they do.
Oh my
You know what I say to that?
It's kind of the only way that if they're going to continue with Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot and Zach Levy or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna keep them on contract to keep making movies. Because, like, they are making a third Wonder Woman movie, apparently.
Of course they are.
Don't know
I just hope
why.
they can keep Patty Jenkins to direct. Just don't let her write it again. Just don't let
Dude,
her write
yeah,
it again.
like that was...
She can direct. Like, I have no problems with her directing, but the writing in the last movie was...
No, it's terrible. That movie's terrible.
Yeah, it was just a whimsical fucking dance the whole fucking time they fucking was shooting that movie.
That
it was
movie was
bad.
just so... The plot was so piss poorly put together. It's...
I didn't mind the first one. I thought that one was actually pretty good, but
The problem
Right,
with the
that-
first one is like the first 2/3 of the first 2 acts of the movie are awesome, and then that last final act with the fight is just like,
Yeah,
God,
you
why?
never liked the fight with Ares.
No, because all of a sudden it's just a CG fucking DC CG like spot fest, and it's just especially when he like takes the helmet off or whatever, and it's just it looked like shit. Just a fucking floating head on an armor.
go DC.
Well, Marvel's got that third eye bullshit. All right, they're not perfect.
Yeah, no, trust me.
Bro, that was after all the hotness that we got with Scarlet Witch fucking murdering some of the strongest people in their lore.
Just tore shreds. It just like turns him into like what's that?
Oh, string cheese.
Yeah, just insane.
That
just
yeah.
madness. Oh, it's so funny. Hey, at least nobody went full Shatner today. You hear about that motherfucker,
What'd he do?
dude?
He's old now. I mean,
So
what happened with Shatner?
he said fuck Star Wars,
Oh,
and he talked about Star
yeah.
Trek and said they'd be what's his name would be. Like he was just straight disrespecting the Star Trek, like where they're at now.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek, and he said "fuck Star Wars." He basically just came at both of their lives, talking about like the new Star Trek, like the new Strange Worlds or whatever.
I have no idea.
It's really good. I actually really
I
enjoy it.
literally, I watched like the Chris Pine trilogy that
Yeah.
Abrams like did,
Yeah,
which I don't even know if it's Abrams for the last movie.
I don't know.
Or, well, he did the first one. Is it also? I can't remember.
They have that new series out, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, see, that's
But
the thing. And
He
Star
don't
Trek.
like it.
That's
He
the
don't
thing
like
about
it at
that's
all.
the thing about Star Trek is that it's always been like television series, like and movies on like way more than Star Wars ever was before.
Mhm.
And like I just never got into it. I'm not surprised though to hear
Same,
William
man.
Shatner do that.
Dude, it was kind of outside of, it was like a individual presentation kind of thing, like Shatner kind of just talking about how he feels about the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He shit on everything Star.
Shatner don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he literally said fuck Star Wars on his thing. I'm like, dude, you're just one way in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Out the fucking door.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but the good news for DC is that The Rock's gonna save everything because that movie
The
looks
hierarchy of
absolutely
DC's
fucking
about to
dope,
change.
and I don't know.
Black Adam does look really cool.
It does.
And my only hope that Cavill will return is The Rock, because he's been very vocal about how he wants his movie or his character to face off against Cavill Superman and fight.
And like we were talking, so essentially, I kind of wonder if that movie is located in a different universe, and like we're gonna be getting into the multiverse of DC with like from the Flash movie, like we're hopeful. I'm
Well, see,
more hopeful that that's really the direction that everything's gonna go, and
It
then
would make it like
if
makes,
we never get Cavill and the Batfleck back, then
It would open up the possibilities that you can.
they're
do
just
in
off.
DC.
They're just off screen removing their characters, and it's just like, oh, we need a Kryptonian. Well, let me run over to this universe instead of bothering the one that's still technically here, but we couldn't get the actor. You know, like I don't know. I just fucking Christ. Christ,
Let's
this
just piss him
I
off.
mean,
franchise.
I mean, they could split it up like that. I mean, like I told you the other day, like that's how it was in the comics originally when they first got
He's from
Captain Marvel at that time, who turned into Shazam. But
right.
but the only problem with that is they had the fucking Superman cameo at the end of the first Shazam, and even in this trailer, it showed like Justice League members. From
Well, it shows that's what I was saying, is that it shows scenes
So it's
from
just
the
like-
Justice League movie.
it's like that's kind of a mixed message there because
We're done with it, but here it
the
is.
like to me it seems like they exist in the same universe as the Justice League. I don't
We're
know.
not continuing the Snyderverse, but it's still intact, and here's the characters from it, and we're not changing anything.
Yeah, we're not going to do
What?
any more with it, but we're going to show it to you. Shove it down your throat.
It's like, Snyderverse is over, but here it is, still existing. Wait a minute.
It's already been shot, so, you know.
Wait. We haven't completely ruined and destroyed it again yet, like we did with the Whedon cut. Come on, man. We gotta bury this universe.
Let's ruin it. It's like a good thing to ruin it.
He's so upset.
I know.
Zaslav was supposed to save everything.
Well, he doesn't. It's so fucked up when he got there, he doesn't know what to do.
It's fair.
I mean,
What are we doing?
yeah, what are you doing? God.
We had a poppin' fucking TV show universe, and we let that go to fucking shit.
Dude, yeah. Like, oh, man.
Let's just go back to that animated universe. That's where we're best. Animated shows and movies.
The movies are sick. If that is something that, anyone wants to go find out for themselves, the animated movies on HBO Max are actually pretty awesome. And some of them are very violent.
Yeah.
Like,
I would
Like-
argue some of them are more made for adults than they are children.
oh, yeah. Dark Apocalypse? Yeah, that one is.
That's on my list.
Oh, dude, that. So good.
That's one thing DC will always be able to hang their hat on. Oh, you hate our live action? Come look at our animated stuff. It's actually
we just made
pretty
this
fucking
brand
good.
new animated rated R Darkseid fucks up entire Justice League. Just give it to me, yeah.
And that's
yeah,
what's
like
most
every time.
Force
though.
feed me.
That's what's honestly the most frustrating thing about this cinematic universe with DC is just like you have look at your fucking library of animated movies. Just adapt these. These are so fucking good. Just give us this hotness.
I think they should have just adapted the early 2000s cartoon show.
Yeah,
They should have just taken that
show's a
exact.
banger too.
They should have just taken, like, for the first Justice League movie, it should have been that same thing. It should have been the white Martians from Mars coming to invade the Earth, and then it's like Superman, Batman, they discover John Jones, and he has to, like, tell them, like, this is the whole background of all of it, this is what these things are, and then, like, that movie could have just been them getting rid of this mass faceless alien army, just as like an establishment movie.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I know it's like maybe not what you want or want to hear because it's like, well, then they're just being like Avengers. Well, the mass majority of people want that movie because it's cool.
But see what's weird is it's like,
I
but they
want to watch
don't.
Superman fly through the sky,
And this is why DC
laser beam eye ships out of the fucking air. That's what I want to see. Like Eternals, shit movie plot line. The action in it, amazing. And watching what Icarus does in that show, the whole time all I could think was that should have been like Superman and Justice League and stuff. Instead, he's like not. He's barely in the movie.
Yeah.
He only shows up at the very end.
Yeah, I also just don't think DC can win because like, and we've talked about this before too. Like when Man of Steel came out, the things that people were complaining about that movie and shitting on that movie is just mind blowing to me. Over the
Ignorant,
stupidest,
yeah.
petty fucking bullshit. And I was just like, all right, yeah, if you don't like the end where he snaps Zod's neck, whatever. I love that moment in that scene. I think it was brilliantly told. Like, he's about to laser down fucking civilians. And he's literally pleading for him to stop. He says never. So in that moment, he's basically choosing his new home or basically destroying the last person.
Well,
from
but
it.
like you've always
that's a powerful
said,
moment. But he just goes over so many people. Superman never do that. Go read a fucking comic. He's killed so many fucking people.
People.
Well,
where
like you
there's a will,
said,
people will find a way.
Well,
to
like
complain
you
about
said,
something.
it's shit like that where we've catered into this society of people need to be spoon-fed everything in a plot line. Like, they can't think for a second outside the box of like, well, why would Superman do that? Like, no one wants to sit down for 5 seconds and figure out that that was the whole message of the character development.
It's like, I don't know. I feel like that's it too. Like a lot of days people just need to be spoon-fed shit, and that's part of my complaint with Marvel movies sometimes. Just like, I get it. You don't gotta. I'm here. But it's just like, and that's been complained about with DC movies too. Like when Flash appears through the screen when Batman's like in his the fucking Batcave.
Yeah.
And he comes flying through because he's like going through time, and it's just like literally a split for that moment. He's like, Lois is the key. Yeah, that was supposed to be a setup for like Justice League, and when like goes into like the Nightmare universe because she is the key, because the reason Superman goes evil is because Lois gets killed.
Yeah.
But it's like, to everybody else, that was a plot hole. Like, what the fuck was this for? And it's like, it was setting up something further down the line. Just take that little cherry.
Just remember it.
Just take that little cherry.
Just remember that moment. That's all. Well, there's a way people will find a way to shit on everything. Star Wars fans are the worst. I'm one of them, but they're the worst. I mean, they're the worst, and something could be 100%, 10 out of 10. Everything was perfectly done, and still someone's gonna be like, well, yeah, but. Well, yeah, but you didn't see in scene 3. Come on.
Frame 143.
Seriously.
You see right here, there's a little CGI clip right there. Did you see it?
Yep.
The little flutter.
You see it? You see the coffee mug?
Could have been
way
done.
over here, barely in the scene, but you see it. Just
could have been done better. That's all I'm saying.
the fucking
See that coffee mug?
people bitching about the fucking bottom of the Nike sneaker the stunt actor in the Wookiee suit is wearing. Just like, what? Like, really, assholes? You just sit here and look for this. Just know they fucked up somewhere.
Well, dude, remember
We're gonna watch this at 1/10 of speed, and we're gonna catch all of it.
Like you remember that we were looking at reaction videos. We were just kind of fucking around the other day, and there was that 40-minute video on a trailer, and he was
on a trailer,
and he's just ripping it to shreds.
And this is fucking wrong. Just
yeah, everything was wrong. Like, you know,
I want to contact those people. Like, how much do you get paid?
And actually, it was
I can do what you do.
It was
like, I can do this too.
It was the Lord of the Rings.
Oh
too.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the one that I was like, people just find any fucking.
That looks amazing, though.
Dude, the one they dropped at Comic-Con too was fucking fire.
Great. And the fact that they're actually not gonna pussyfoot around it and have like Balrogs.
Dude.
Amazing. Because there was a ton of them during that time, according to the lore of Mr. Tolkien. So
Tolkienverse.
Yeah, still just don't understand why that show's getting so much hate.
See, and I haven't even seen that, so I don't know. I've seen mainly people are pretty hyped for it.
Probably normal people like us, are hyped for it, but
you know, people who let politics be a part of their everyday lives are probably
that's usually
getting
most of
all
the people.
pissy because it's like, oh, it's a play into woke culture because there's a female lead. It's like, no, it's called Galadriel, and she's like a fucking high elf, like main power player in Lord of the Rings, dipshit. Go watch the movie. She can like see into the fucking future, bro, and that's like the whole point of her character in Peter Jackson's Magnificent Trilogy. Jathan. I really have not seen that people have been shitting on it, but that's a shame because to me it looks like, well, what I said to you, I think it looks like what I expected Game of Thrones to be, where, I mean, but granted, Game of Thrones was really it was a political show. It wasn't meant to have action. And when it did have action for a while there, it was really, really good, but it was short-lived because Game of Thrones was more meant to be a political show.
Right.
Which this show, hopefully, is like going to be the more opposite, where there's going to be some politicking about the whole races.
But more like adventures, fighting.
This will have some politicking with the races of men and the dwarves and stuff, because they do at least show like a lot of the races, so they are going to really deep dive, which I like, because that's one thing that I always got bummed out about with Lord of the Rings, was that like they didn't, and it's probably just because Peter Jackson, like the way they filmed it, and there's not like terribly too much CGI. Like there does exist, but for the most part, for Lord of the Rings, like it was a lot of like people dressed in that shit. Like they didn't CGI the orcs. Like it was actors that like had all this shit on. And I assume that's like why we didn't have dwarves in Lord of the Rings, because they were probably like, we don't want to CGI a shit ton of little people.
We'll have Gimli, and that's it.
Right. Whereas later, since he did The Hobbit later, in that movie, they basically were like, they CGI'd the shit out of like 90% of it, then fine.
Yeah.
But, anyways, I don't know. I'm pretty excited for it.
Absolutely.
It's going to get into like, there's going to be a shit ton of like elf armies and dwarf armies, and then the humans, like, so the thing about the Realm of Man, like, and it's cool because in the trailers we do see the White Tree of Gondor back when it was more flourished, and then it does show a lot of other shots of like the realms of men and like their kingdoms, and all of that's like geographically the stuff that was like all up in the north, and it's like that whole Men of Numenor line. And like Isildur and Elendil are characters that will be in it, because like they live for a long time. Like when you watch the extended Lord of the Rings, Aragorn tells the Rohan woman, Eowyn.
Yeah.
He tells her, he's like, I'm 87 years old, and she's like, oh, you got the divine gifted blood of the men of Numenor, and so like you basically can live to be like 200 or 300 years old, whatever it is.
Jesus.
So I think that's what this is like, it's a Isildur when he's younger, and like they can live for a long time. So this must be set like right before the Third Age starts, like again with the whole Sauron comes down.
Yep.
I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too.
Yeah, I can't
And
wait to
like,
see that process.
Well,
I mean, they clearly used every bit of that fucking massive ass budget that they had, because it's just like I love.
Even in the
love how many like.
Well, and in the one shot too, it just like shows like the armor forming and then like the sword forming, and I was like, I assume that's just Sauron at first.
That's what
because it's gonna be. It's gonna. I'm gonna assume that's Sauron before he poisons and plots the minds of the men,
with the
men kings.
Yeah, that's when it shows it down. It shows that shot of him like kneeled down, like when he first he was banished or whatever.
Because really, it's got to lead into the fact that like, because it's really in the Hobbit movies of how like the Nazgul do get like created. Because in the Hobbit movies, they're like they're in a lair, like that's just randomly out in a field, like in one of the northern realms. It's like Sauron's there, his spirit is there before it goes back to Mordor.
So I need to rewatch those.
Yeah, it looks really gorgeous, and it looks like there's like a lot of different places we're gonna go to. Like that kind of surprised me too. I was like, holy fuck, we're going to a lot of different places at Middle Earth, aren't we?
Yeah. It's just very interesting on what the plot like is just actually going to be.
Yeah. True. Yeah, because the whole Sauron plotline's only going to be a part of it. And I imagine his story will almost be kind of like in the background for most of the beginning, and then he'll probably show up and be more prevalent at the end. Are you guys, I guess since we're kind of already on this anyway, you hyped for the House of Dragon show?
Absolutely.
So I'm not a Game of Thrones guy, but I figured I'd throw that your guys' way because I know you guys didn't.
Cubs.
I'm gonna say that I'm hyped for it. Just as like, I don't know.
I mean, the Targaryens, as prominent as they were in this, in the actual series, there wasn't a whole lot of information that we got outside of, oh, they came from this place, they don't exist anymore, the Mad King,
yeah,
and then it's just that's it. You know,
we're getting the prequel era type shit now, so I'm hyped for it. My expectations, I'll admit, are kind of low just because of the way that Game of Thrones ended. But part of me is at least optimistic because I feel like, well, at least it's like it is a show that they're basing it off of. Well, didn't he come out with some book about all of the Targaryen shit?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
because, you know, instead of releasing the last books that he needs to release and get those published and out the door, he releases that fucking thing.
yeah.
So
There's
I
some-
assume this series is going to be based off of that book.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which one it is, but yeah, you're right. I think that's where he's pulling all this from.
What the fuck was that? What was that?
It's
I
a
see.
poster for Quantum Mania.
Alright.
Kang.
So who's that third motherfucker right there? Alright. So should we just close this out and
Yeah.
Get
Back
in.
to the glory.
back to the glory? Black Panther. So
I
it's
thought you
gonna
said
end.
glory.
It's gonna end Phase 4. Trailer looks like they're doing the best with what they can because Chadwick Boseman passed away, unfortunately. So, did you watch the trailer?
I have not.
Okay, we did. So, it looks like they're just basically making a movie that's going to be about the Wakandans being at war with the Atlanteans.
It's not.
So, and in the trailer, they literally just straight up are showing you Namor. Like, straight up. And what's funny, so clearly they showed you the Atlanteans, and they're like blue looking people. And I don't know who leaked it out, but someone at Marvel, Disney, whatever, did leak, and they made a comment before this trailer came out, and they said how it is confirmed a mutant will be in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I even, like, commented, retweeted, and said, like, yeah, and that mutant is going to be Namor, because Namor is a mutant of the Atlantean species. Like, that's why they all look blue, but he looks more like a human, because he's a mutant of them. And that's, like, why he's got all weird-ass superpowers and whatnot. But essentially, the movie just... It looks like it's about a war between Wakanda and Atlantis. We get the Winston Duke is going to be clubbing people, just like
Sweet.
the last couple times we've seen him.
Just beating on folks.
Yeah. They obviously showed the character that's going to be Ironheart. Like, that was the whole, she's pounding the heart out. I didn't catch that the first time when I watched it.
I didn't either.
And then we watched her, like, a breakdown.
That's the series
Video.
they're coming out with.
There is going to be an Ironheart series
That's
as well,
okay.
but so this movie is where the character is going to probably get introduced and build like her prototype suit.
Yeah.
So we are going to have an Iron person or like an Iron Man type. I don't know much about Ironheart because I know that's like a newer comic thing, like within the past decade. But I understand it as, again, it's typical. It's super genius that builds a Iron Man like armor and
Of course.
takes the mantle over. Yes,
Of course.
Of course.
But of course, can't leave that
Of
out.
course.
It's got to hang around.
Of course.
Come hell or high water. That's got to come back.
Of course.
Of course.
I'm just very interested for that movie just because I want to... So they show a individual in a new and improved Black Panther suit.
Wonder how they just do that. Do they keep it?
Well, I wonder if it's going to be this... Like, because in the comics, his sister does eventually take the mantle.
Mhm.
I personally hope that for the MCU they don't do that. I've heard that the actress doesn't even like, or they don't even want to continue with her or anything. But that could also be the typical like Marvel keeping everything quiet, and like they literally keep secrets from the actors that are like, you signed this contract to be in 5 of our movies. Okay, so what are they? Well, we're not going to tell you that. It's like, so that might be what it is. So it might still be the sister who takes the mantle up. Again, I personally hope though that it's the other girl, like the love interest from the first movie. I hope she takes the mantle up, because I feel like for her character growth, it would be more fitting the way that they did the first movie with her character, because she was known as like this rebellious Wakandan that didn't even want to be in Wakanda, and she wanted to be out and help saving the world and other, African people, and it's like,
Best way to do that.
to me, it would make sense if she took the Black Panther mantle and she was like, okay, I'm gonna go be a hero out in the world.
Yep.
Best way to do it is
That's-
take the mantle.
Yeah, so I really kind of hope that she actually gets the mantle. What was the other Marvel stuff? So, like, they basically said that would conclude Phase 4, which,
That and
I think
that
every-
and She-Hulk.
honestly, I even think MCU fans are kind of in the boat with me. Like, yeah, let's get this over. Like,
Let's start something.
the issue is that we all want an Avengers movie. They even did tell us, hey, you're not going to get one for a while.
2025, I think.
Or, yeah, something like that. And we were all like, I mean, I'm sure everyone was more hoping, like, yeah, but
It's about that time.
you're
so-
just saying that, you're
Yeah.
just saying that, right?
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, technically, Captain America: Civil War wasn't an Avengers movie,
But it was an
But
Avengers
it was
movie.
an Avengers movie.
Yeah. Because they screwed up Age of Ultron and they had to save it, so they had to save their franchise, because, God.
That movie was terrible.
Yeah, I hate that movie the most.
I'm not a fan.
But yeah, I think most people are in agreement. They're pretty glad that Phase 4 is over. I'm glad it's over. All it did was introduce new characters, which is like okay, but like at least like in the past phase with Phase 1, like yeah, but those characters all eventually met. Like in this phase, it was like
Here and there.
yeah, it's like it's all over. It's sporadic. Basically, these characters are getting established to meet in full way later. And then they showed the Phase 5.
Because don't we get Captain America? We get Captain America, don't we?
There's gonna
Yeah,
be
New
a
World
Captain
Order.
America movie.
2024.
They do you have like the list of it all pulled up? So it's gonna conclude with. So it's gonna start with what one? I don't have the list in front of me.
Secret Invasion comes back.
Is this show?
Yeah. that's-
Oh, the Phase 5 is gonna start with the Ant-Man
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, like they're bringing Kang in as a primary.
Right. And so then it's like Secret Invasion, and the Ironheart, and Loki, and
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk,
Very good.
She-Hulk ends Phase 4 with Wakanda.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
So,
Quantum Mania.
yeah. Oh, the Guardians 3 movie, which apparently, so today is July 24th, right?
Yep.
So apparently,
Sunday, July.
oh, thank you, Siri. Didn't even fucking ask it. So
Siri making an appearance.
apparently today they actually showed footage for Guardians 3 as well.
Okay.
Apparently the movie is going to be centered around Rocket Raccoon. And
What?
yeah, and figuring out like why he's this genetically engineered
Oh, okay.
freak. Which, if that's one element of it, that's fine. But I mean, I will say this, like, it was 4 years ago that we got teased Adam Warlock. Where the fuck is Adam Warlock? And canonically, Guardians 2 only takes place like a month after the first one.
Yeah.
So the first one's set in like 2016 or whatever the fuck. It's set around the same time as Age of Ultron and Civil War and all that are happening.
Mhm.
So, there's some time there between Infinity War and other two movies. Where was Adam Warlock in Infinity War and all that? Where has Adam Warlock been? Where is the character? like,
Give it to me, Tank.
And is he gonna finally show up in this one? I hope so. I don't know. And then is the other Eternals movie in that? The Eternals sequel?
Don't see it. It shows.
So maybe
I
that.
can just break down
So
everything.
that one has Blade, right?
Yeah, it's got.
So we heard Blade at the end and the end of the Eternals movie.
Loki series.
Loki series, which that's just gonna continue more of his bullshit. I don't know. I don't know.
They're talking about
Agatha.
Loki series being all of his like all the different Lokis are going to be involved.
Again,
Yeah.
but probably in more so effect, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's good because that's why what made the first season cool was
It really
like you
was.
just had these other.
Like classic Loki.
So, and and then that's gonna end with the Captain America, the New World Order,
Thunderbolts ends Phase 5.
Well, yeah, and then Thunderbolts, which I would assume that Captain America movie is going to be the last string that fits into that Thunderbolts movie. The Thunderbolts movie is going to be very interesting. It's essentially instead of getting Red Hulk, we get Abomination as like the Hulk member of that team.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine they're gonna have Clint Barton spearhead it, because that's how it is in the comics, is that he leads the Dark Avengers.
Give them something to do again.
Right. I would imagine that movie is gonna have the Clint Barton Hawkeye, then the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, the Romanoff, beautiful Florence Pugh's character, Yelena Romanoff, couldn't remember. Not Thunderbolt Ross, but the Abomination, and then I don't know who the other members will be.
So I don't think I've even ever read a Thunderbolts comic, so.
They might have. I think a big root theory is that they might have Barnes in there. See, that's the thing. Is like really the Red Hulk is supposed to be a part of the team, but since they never developed that as a character in the MCU, they aren't gonna have him.
So there's quite a few theories of who the team will be. Someone's even got like Deadpool.
I was gonna say if they put Deadpool in it, which would be actually a good way to bring Deadpool into the MCU, and
then he could break off and start Task Force X or whatever.
yeah, since they're gonna bring the X-Men into it too.
X-Force.
But
Yeah,
the other
X-Force,
thing,
that's it.
yeah, and then the other thing today, so with Marvel, so the other thing with what they announced today, so Phase 1, 2, and 3 was all called the Infinity Saga, so now they finally have just come out and have called this apparently the Multiverse Saga for Phase 4, 5, and 6, because then they're also saying that Phase 6 will start with Fantastic Four, and then it's going to end with Avengers: The Secret Wars. So, yeah, Phase 4 and 5 is literally just building up all these different universes, multiverses of these characters, and then they're going to bang it out in Secret Wars in the last Avengers movie. Because I'm pretty sure that's what Secret Wars is, right? It's like essentially... So my theory on where it could all go is that the different Kangs of the universes are going to convince the heroes of their own universes to, like, go to war with each other. Because, like, when you watch Loki, spoilers for those of you who haven't watched, but it ends with they call him He Who Remains at the End of Time, but he's basically the Immortus God from Marvel.
Mhm.
And he tells them how I was at war with all of my other selves, and basically I had to construct the timeline to where, like, no one, like, multiverses don't exist. Well, then he gets killed, so then since he doesn't exist anymore, it causes the multiverse to happen. And then Loki, Girl Loki pushes our hero, regular Loki. So Sylvie pushes Loki through a portal, and he actually ends up going to a different universe because they didn't know how to control, like, the technology, the quantum technology that allows them to travel through space and time. And since she kills the guy, so he's, like, actually stuck in a different universe. So that makes sense why then the season 2, he's going to be hopping around. We're going to see all these different versions of himself because now the multiverse exists because of Sylvie. And so, yeah, he's probably going to hop through that. And then again, you know, we had Doctor Strange hopping through it. So, like, they're just building it up. And then that's my theory, is the Secret Wars movie will be the Kangs in the background will be, like, manipulating.
Gotta have a little Doctor Doom in there, though, too, don't you? Wasn't he pretty prevalent to the Secret Wars?
I think so. That's the thing, is I can't remember how that whole plot line goes, but I'm just trying to theorize on, like, what are they doing with this Kang character?
But I mean, he is,
because he's the villain.
He is going to come up. Because,
well,
I mean,
he's the villain. He's the antagonist in the Ant-Man movie.
Well,
like,
there's also there is an Avengers movie before Secret Wars.
The Kang.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, the Kang Dynasty.
So you're on something else that has even more weeks then?
Yeah, but it's...
well, the article I'm looking at from what IGN has reported is, I think, from this morning. Or no, it's from late last night, from tweets last night, and it does just say it's gonna end. Oh, it does. Okay, it says end with Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and Avengers: Secret Wars.
What they're probably gonna do it in Infinity War and Endgame. We lost, and then we came back and won.
Well, like Kang Dynasty, they lose, and then Secret Wars, they're all gonna come back, and it's gonna be a multiverse of heroes.
It would be classic Marvel.
Tom fucking Cruise is Iron Man.
Please, give it to us. Superior Iron Man.
It's not gonna happen, because Tom Cruise is
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
He's out there flying.
Yeah.
Jets.
That's why they can't do it.
Well, because they'll say,
Because Tom
Tom,
Cruise
we would really love you to
he'll
play
get on
Iron
set, and he's like, all right, where's my actual
Man. Yeah, where's
Iron
my
Man
Iron Man suit?
And they're going to tell him it's not real, and he's going to look at them like they're crazy. And he's going to be like, well, what do you mean it's not real? I have to do my own stunts and fly this fucking suit.
That's how I get in the moment.
Yeah.
Scientology says different.
Yeah. Like, that's why we can never have Tom Cruise as Iron Man, guys, because unfortunately the Iron Man suit doesn't exist that we know of. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Somebody will figure it out with more money than sense.
So the Kang, so then is that what it's going to be then? Is number 5, the 5th Avengers is the Kang Dynasty, and it's all the different Kangs then. That's going to be what it is. They're definitely going to take the comic line of when the Kangs of the multiverse basically form their own, anti-Avengers thing. Like, that's what happens in the comics. They all realize, like, oh, we have to team up together because, all these people are going to stop us. So I would assume, like, yeah, it's going to be they lose in that one, but then for Secret Wars they come back. I don't know.
Could be.
No, it'd be true.
And will Doctor Doom? Well, for one, with what we watched last night, is that true? That'd be interesting. If it is true, I would say this: then the character's established in your universe, and then maybe that's the thing with Secret Wars is they have to use someone as smart as Doctor Doom to be able to beat someone as smart as Kang.
Well, I mean, because I thought they, basically already kind of loosely confirmed that there was going to be a Doom movie.
I don't know about a
But
movie,
but they have all of these untitled Marvel projects.
Yes.
And knowing them being them, if Doom is one of them, they're not going to show that. They're going to keep that hidden as long as they can.
Well, and the other thing too that would be interesting is that like, if the Doom that does show up before, like, so I've heard a theory, like we've heard like theories that their Doctor Doom is going to show up in the MCU before they even have a Fantastic Four movie. But what I'm wondering is then, is that a Doctor Doom from a different universe then? And so like that's why they're just going to play it as like the Fantastic Four movie can come later because it's just multiverse travel and, you know.
That's a good way for them.
Theoretically, with having that concept out there, you can do
You don't need continuity.
whatever the hell you want. You don't need continuity.
At all.
Just, oh, why does this character randomly exist now? Oh, he's from a different universe.
Yep.
Solve that continuity issue like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's where DC is going to go, because if they truly want to, quote, be done with the Snyderverse, but keep it intact or around.
Be
or,
done with it.
Yeah, like it's
There's
it's
literally
the
a
same.
guy I watch who
It's
makes
the
a joke all the time about like, guys, restore the Snyderverse. He's like, it hasn't gone anywhere.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of true, though. I mean, like, they haven't come out and said, like, we're rebooting this universe.
Mhm.
Like, they just kind of keep adding to it. So,
Back to Marvel before I have another fucking aneurysm.
yes. Back to the goats.
Goats.
Back to a company that's, I mean, what would you say, Jeff? I'd say has never once stolen a character designer idea from any other company.
No.
Yeah.
Solid, though.
Solid, very original.
Yeah, Thanos
Yeah.
was. Yeah, he was so original.
Yeah.
It's all
How
about,
did we lose? Marvel was
it's all about
going
originality.
bankrupt.
It's all about originality. Continuity.
Well, we know the answer to that, Jordan.
Yeah, I know Disney had it.
Oh, not just Disney. They also decided, let's take our 3 biggest powerhouse lines and sell the rights to them. Guess who just got out of bankruptcy? Marvel.
But hey, apparently Spider-Man.
Marvel survived selling off Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Spider-Man to save itself from bankruptcy, to then later getting bought by Disney because Disney liked the whole fact that the shared movie universe was actually gaining ground because Iron Man 1 was such a success, and then Captain America and Thor and Incredible Hulk weren't terrible movies, so everyone remained that interest, so then Disney was like buying it.
Yep.
And then we were just like, oh, for, you know, a long time, just, man, it sure does suck we'll never get those characters in the MCU. Yeah.
Yeah.
Five years later, Spider-Man, done correctly. Ah, man. Marvel survived all that. DC still can't figure it out. What the-
They're out here spinning their wheels for creating the same movie twice.
Yep.
God. Fucking Warner Bros. Just sell it to Disney.
Dude, telling you.
We just sold it to Discovery.
I don't care.
Well,
Just
one-
sell it to someone who wants to do something.
Do something correctly.
Do something cool.
Just do something cool.
Yeah. Alright. So, yeah. Cool. Secret Wars.
All this build up for an Infinity War and Endgame. But I'll watch it
Does
100
say
times.
that we will watch it 100
I'll watch
times
this
anyway.
shit. Yeah.
Interesting. Did you hear that the Russo brothers aren't directing the Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars?
Right, yeah, they were they've been done with. They've been out of Marvel ever since Endgame.
I thought they
that's
would
part
come
of me.
back.
That's part of me that's part of why I wonder if Phase 4. That's like kind of why it's kind of seemed like this mess of, like you said, here, over here, because they didn't have like. I firmly believe that the Russo brothers were always involved in something with all of Phase 3. Because really, Marvel didn't really like. Marvel was not like the MCU movies were not like they were. The majority of them were just okay movies. They weren't like, holy shit, you gotta go see this, until everything they started making in Phase 3 when the Russo brothers, like, basically, Josh Whedon made Age of Ultron, and it was terrible. And then Captain America Winter Soldier was so well received that, I mean, the big shots at Disney clearly were like, oh, here you go, here's the keys to the kingdom, Russo brothers, knock it out of the park. And so part of me wonders if like they were kind of always involved in Phase 3, and that's like why the narratives were good. And then now with this Phase 4, since they've been gone after Endgame, that's why it's kind of been kind of like so spotty and all over the place.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense to me, because what you said was what I'd been echoing for years. Like, previous to Phase 3, I was like, these movies are, like, okay most of the time.
Yeah,
like, they're not
they were
anything great, but everyone acts like they're all, like, 8 or 9s out of 10.
I would say
I'm just like, I don't get it. And then Phase 3 happened. I'm like, all right. I was like, now we're getting some hotness. Civil War. You know,
I would
Endgame.
say
Like,
pre-Phase 3, the only standout Marvel movies that, or at least MCU movies that I'm like, hey, you should really go watch this. First Iron Man, the first Avengers, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Other than that, the Thor movies are not good.
No.
The first Captain America was okay.
I would say
It wasn't great, but it was okay.
it was solid.
It's solid. Yeah.
A good start.
Like,
It's
it's
a good
good.
origin movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk, unfortunately,
Not good.
not good.
Not good.
I will still rather watch that though over Age of Ultron, but it's because I hate Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron sucks. So yeah, Iron Man 2 sucks.
Yes, as well as Iron Man 3.
Right.
Right.
More tolerable than 2, but
Well, but that-
still not great.
Right, but that
Still
was not.
great.
Yeah.
Still not great.
I actually forgot about Iron Man 1 and 2, or 2 and 3. I mean. Yeah,
Forgettable.
I knew I was missing. I was like sitting here. I'm like, I know I'm missing some movies, but yeah, those not good either.
I'm honestly not even super high on Winter Soldier.
I love
I
that
love that
I
movie.
love that movie.
I think the main problem for me is on the Marvel side, Bucky was like my favorite character. I loved the Winter
Oh,
Soldier,
okay.
and I cannot stand the actor who's playing him. I'm like, you look like the most least intimidating son of a bitch ever. Like, I could be more intimidating than you. And just look that. Just no, Winter Soldier, when he appears, he's a bad motherfucker.
Okay.
So that's why I just don't like that movie. But
Sebastian Stan in it.
yeah,
Yes.
Should be Luke.
Guardians,
He
I would
should be
agree.
good.
Guardians is probably a movie you should see. At least the first one. Second one was okay.
Second one's okay, but that one's more in. I mean, timeline wise, it's really within Phase 2, but it's a part of Phase 3.
What's the other one you said? Oh, the first Avengers.
So the first Avengers.
If you haven't genuinely ever seen the first Avengers, yeah, I would say it's worth a watch. But I don't think the first Avengers has necessarily held up over time.
You're right. I think it's been overshadowed. You know, much more overshadowed than even any of the other build-up origin stories that they're kind of forgettable because they've been.
I will say, when I go back and watch it, I get that feeling of like this isn't aging well.
But the thing I always remember is what makes that movie experience so memorable and great was being there opening night and just everybody in the theater seeing live action Avengers
Yeah.
on the big screen. Something
Right.
we never thought we'd ever get to fucking see.
Right, like,
And just
different-
The whole energy of that whole theater was just off the charts. Just
Yeah.
popping for everything. Just
Yeah.
it was equivalent to going and seeing episode 3 at midnight back in
Yeah.
like 8th grade. Like just
Yeah.
everybody buzzing around, lightsaber battles in the parking lot. Just
Yeah.
Amazing.
very few times you get to like experience a movie like that
Yeah.
with that kind of atmosphere. So
I experienced Endgame with that atmosphere. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Completely sold out, and yeah, all the nostalgia feels. Man, crap.
Guess what I got? It's Rise of Skywalker. I know.
look at me.
It's not okay. it's not okay.
I think I actually. No, I did not see that one on midnight. But yeah, that's
Probably a good
okay.
thing you didn't.
Huh?
Probably a good thing you didn't.
You haven't even seen it.
Which one? The 9?
The
Yeah.
ninth one.
No, I haven't seen 9.
Yeah, you should.
It's better.
I
Than
probably
the other
like it better than 8.
two. It's better than the other two. It's the best of the 3 of the sequel.
Really.
What?
See, I felt like I would
I
still
like
think
it.
Force Awakens was going to be the best out of those 3.
I was so
To me,
so,
Force Awakens is the best one.
I was so
of the three.
disappointed. I think the level of disappointment threw me off that movie.
Whoa, Force Awakens?
Yeah,
What were you disappointed by?
it's just absolute dog water. I mean,
It's a New Hope all over again.
Yeah.
No.
That's literally what it is.
And then,
Well,
but
but
a
maybe that's
cooler
the point.
lightsaber fight at the end.
That's
But,
why
dude,
I don't know.
there
The
wasn't
reason
a good
I
lightsaber
like
fight in
Force
any of them.
Awakens is like, especially like after the bad taste of the prequels, when you watch a Force Awakens,
Yes.
you're like, oh my god, somebody who actually cares and
That's how
knows
I
what
felt.
he's doing. Like
That's the
this,
thing.
this feels like a New
That was
Hope
the
again.
thing.
Like he's letting
And-
everyone know, hey, I know what you guys like and love. I'm not gonna.
And like
Don't you-
the other thing too was like watching it the first time again. Yeah, you got that feeling like, oh my god, this feels like the old Star Wars, the original trilogy that I loved, and it's not the overacted, cheesy lines, the way too much special effects and CGI. Of
Yes,
the
that was another big
prequels.
thing. Was you could tell how
I
much
was
shit was
like-
practical in that movie too, and you're like, fuck, yes, we're going
Right.
back to like what made Star Wars Star Wars. Like,
Right, that's how I felt in watching it, and I was like, the plot line, I was like, okay, this is literally just like A New Hope, it's like the same movie, and I was like, I kind of laughed even at the, you know, the base thing, and I was like, okay, seriously, like, it's the same thing, and,
Yep.
but I was like, okay, whatever, and I don't know, the other part about it, I'll admit, too, was like, when it finally got to the end with, when they were fighting Kylo, like, I don't know, something about like when Rey like grabbed the saber through the Force, like pulled it all the way across. I was like, oh my god, this is like awesome, like cool. Like it's kind of, you know, but then they fight and it's whatever, and I was like, this is
Shit
great.
fucking Jedi.
But then,
shit, Jedi.
Shit,
But
Jedi.
then,
sorry
you know.
excuse for a fucking hero.
but then, yeah, then they made the next movie, and I'm like,
One day I woke up.
Whoa.
One day I woke up and I was
That
all
movie-
powerful.
right, like that's where I was like, that's when it lost me, was the next movie when, yeah, well, one day I woke up and I was all powerful. I'm stronger than even Luke
Now
Skywalker.
all the
Just-
Jedi live in me.
Right.
Fuck off. I can't stand that shit. It's just and just she's going scrapping. She's scrapping parts off of a Imperial cruiser that's in the desert on Jakku. And then the next day she's fucking slinging the lightsaber. You know, it's like, come on.
The
Okay.
Last Jedi is way better than the Kenobi series. I don't know what you're talking about.
All I gotta say is this. Hey.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I just can't.
Yeah, it took them that
I
long
will
to lose me
say-
in that movie too. As soon as that happened, I was like, we're okay.
Yeah, I think I heard more gasp, like more people gasping. Like they're like,
All right, this is what I'm gonna say about Rise of Skywalker. It has the Phantom Menace problem. The first 2/3,
Come on,
2
Snoke.
hours of the movie, fucking. But that last 30 minutes is fucking fantastic. like,
I think I agree with that more. I agree with that.
Phantom
It made it
Menace
worth it though.
just Boring.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't care.
Politics.
Middle
more
what?
politics.
That's stupid.
But you also,
Dumb.
you
Just
also
dumb.
get more.
Oh,
Dumb.
pod racing. This is.
Power Racing. Oh, this is kind of
kinda
cool.
cool, yeah.
Oh shit, they're making it like an ESPN NASCAR thing. Stupid again. Just like just watching it. Just okay. Oh, the entire planet is one city. Just that's over the top. All right. Oh my God, Yoda! Oh my God! Oh, that puppet looks terrible. Like it just just oh, Black Jedi, cool. Okay, cool.
Oh, purple lightsaber. That's
just
dope.
Boring. Just what the fuck is this?
It made it all worth it.
And then, of course, the classic.
They start
You're like,
fighting.
oh.
They start fighting. You're SpongeBob in your chair. Yeah. That's Rise of Skywalker. It's like, okay, intros.
Exegol that makes the whole movie worth it.
The intro, okay, cool. Just, oh yeah, feed me that nostalgia line, Palpatine. Just like, and then back to main heroes, just, okay. Oh, yep, Mary Sue's all powerful again, or still is, whatever, yeah.
Now she's surpassed everybody. She's just better than everyone.
Plot keeps developing. Don't care. And then they go to a fucking rager. They go to another sand planet.
Yeah, another sand planet. But also, I do kind of like the Sith assassin storyline, because that was in all the comics. Okun or whatever his name was.
Hilariously, I was so bored the other night, I actually just watched this movie. Fuck is his name?
Okun.
Proving my point here.
I can't remember.
I can't remember his fucking
But
name.
with the Sith, they should have
Ochi.
Ochi, yeah.
Ochi.
Bassoon, I think his last name is Ochi.
So he was an a Sith assassin for Palpatine.
In the comics, he tries to kill Vader all the time.
So
He tries all the time.
yeah.
Never works, obviously, but
But the movie it takes forever, and then yes, when we finally get to the end and they're on Exegol, that's like
it's hot.
yeah.
It's hot. What do they call it? The Sith. What are all the people? I can't remember what.
The acolytes of the Sith.
Yeah, like the ones that are in like that.
No, aren't they called acolytes of the Sith?
No, it's like it's called something else. It's like it's some following. They are acolytes, but I can't remember what the group is called.
It's like literally it's like an underground Roman Colosseum, and it's like all these hooded, cloaked people, and they're like chanting in tongues.
Yeah,
it's
like speaking Sith
awesome.
language.
It's awesome.
It's fucking dope.
It's very good.
Yeah, that's why that one is the best one, because it actually has fucking lore in it. Not just made up fucking poof magic. Fucking Rey's stronger than everyone now. Rey Skywalker. No. You are not a Skywalker.
Well, I got some bad news for you, Jeff. She is a Skywalker.
Dude's nuts. Not my Skywalker.
Not my Skywalker.
No
But
way.
yeah.
No way.
So yeah, Jordan, whenever you got 2.5 hours of free time, check the movie out.
It's worth the watch.
I told you, man. You
It's
get
on Disney Plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Snoke's
I need to finally finish that
badass backstory.
god awful trilogy anyway, so
The dark side.
that way I can just go back and watch The Force Awakens.
Some consider unnatural. This is like weak ass. I do like that part though.
The beginning is cool.
When he's like,
he says that.
when he's like changing all of his voices, I am
Oh,
every voice
yeah.
you've ever heard. It like changes to Snoke's voice, and then it goes inside your head, and it's Vader's voice.
Yeah.
So he's been talking to, he's been kind of manipulating Kylo Ren,
Yeah. The
using
whole time.
Vader's voice and Snoke and all that.
Yeah.
I am Snoke.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's probably our show for today.
Yeah, I think a good 3 hours is
Yeah.
solid.
Solid.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. This
Yeah.
is Tardy to the Party. Your boy Jay said.
The bull.
Kevin Crunch.